Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Rayman 2 The Great Escape. Last time, we went through the pirate ship and we got ourselves 3 main turtle-lums in this game. And now we are ready to take the fight to Razorbeard on the crow's nest. Let's go ahead and jump into our final level here. Come in, you useless grub. Rayman has a 4 mask and he is on the ship. You failed me again. I warned you, didn't I? Let's see how well you swim in molten lava. Meanwhile, I'll just handle this little problem myself. Prepare the Grolgoth. I know how to lure Rayman to me. Identify target. Leave my friend alone! Now you're alone for eternity. Huh? Are you okay, Glowbox? I'll be fine. Now go. Here we are the final boss of the game, the Grolgoth. Essentially what we need to do here is we need to go ahead and shoot back these bombs that Razorbeard throws at us here. After we shoot him with the bombs, Razorbeard will be shooting us with his little feet cannons, and then he'll be jumping towards us. So just make sure that you're dodging whenever you can, and then just shoot the bombs back at him whenever he releases more. You don't want to rapid shoot these bombs, because if you do, then Razorbeard will just dodge out of the way. So just take your time when shooting these bombs back at the Grolgoth, and you'll be perfectly fine. And with that, we are done with phase 1 of the Grolgoth fight. Now I've got you. Hey! Don't be afraid, Rayman. I'm here. Bravo, Rayman. You were sensational. Razorbeard is nearly beaten. Thanks to you, hope has come back into our hearts. The slaves have broken their chains and escaped. On land, Polokus eliminated all the robo pirates. Destroy Razorbeard, and our victory will be complete. And now we begin phase 2 of the Grolgoth fight. What we need to do here is we need to go ahead and swing into one of the 2 alcoves and grab this sparkly little power down here. This is how we're going to be destroying Razorbeard's Grolgoth. This will give us the ability now to shoot. We want to go ahead and shoot his hands, making him slippery, and then the Grolgoth will fall into the lava. This is how we're going to be hurting Razorbeard from here on out. We only have a certain amount of shots here with this little slippery goo, so we need to conserve our shots as much as possible. So I can only shoot Razorbeard a handful of times, which really you can only shoot him into the lava twice before you have to refill. So what I like to do is I just like to shoot Razorbeard twice, then get a new refill of power, and go back to shoot Razorbeard once again. So this fight is very formulaic, as you can see, but do not die in this fight. If I could recommend one thing, try to avoid dying here as much as you can, because if you do, you're starting over from the very beginning. So dying here has a major consequence this time around, and it's really disappointing because this fight isn't really all too difficult. It just has a really big consequence of if you die, you have to restart the entire fight over again, and that's really annoying. After a couple hits, Razorbeard will start to raise the lava, so now you won't be able to go and get a refill on your energy beam here. You'll have to wait for it to just sink, but Razorbeard will go up to the very top of the room, so you have to follow him up there if you want to go ahead and hit him. And throughout the fight, as you can see, I'm being chased around by these shots that Razorbeard's been shooting at me. The only way to destroy these things is to run into something, so have it run into a wall or the lava. I always like trying to bait these shots into the lava if I can, but sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do in the world. So I'll just be zigzagging a lot in this fight just to be safe. That's normally how I avoid a lot of Razorbeard's shots. It doesn't always work, mind you, but it does help for the most part. But we almost defeated Razorbeard here. We just have a few more hits, and he will be defeated once and for all. Luckily, there are only 2 phases here to this Grolgoth fight, so we don't really have to do that much after this. And unfortunately, I ran out of ammo, so now I gotta go get more and hope he doesn't... Oh, yeah, he's raising lava. Okay, I gotta hurry. The problem when he raises the lava and you're going for one of these powers is if you're in there when it's raising, you're not gonna be able to make it out of there all that easily. You can actually die in that section because the lava will raise so high up that you can't get out. So I never like being in one of those alcoves when the lava raises for that specific reason. And you never know when Razorbeard's gonna raise it, so you have to be on your guard. With that, that should be the final hit. Razorbeard is defeated. Rayman, I've saved one little surprise for you. Rayman, we honor you this evening. Without your courage, the enemy would still be here. Once again, the world has found harmony. The heart of the world is back together. Now rest. You may have to fight again. Who knows what tomorrow will bring. And with that, we are at the end of Rayman 2. This has been a fun ride. A lot of lungs and a lot of cages were collected along the way. We met a lot of Rayman's friends. We've saved a lot of them a couple of times. But overall, it was a very fun adventure, and I hope everyone enjoyed the ride. But while we're going through this credit scene, I do want to show off something that you can actually do in the final boss battle. So we'll do a little picture-in-picture here, because these credits are going to go on for a while. In the final boss against Razorbeard, in Phase 2, you can actually fly up to the ceiling, and if you're pressing both the jump and the shoot buttons at the same time while flying up, you can actually go into the ceiling, which will grant you a special area. And at the very end of this area, you'll see a glowing power just like we do normally in the fight, but you don't get anything for it when you pick it up, when you notice it right away. You just picked up infinite ammo. So now when you go ahead and pick up the weapon to shoot Razorbeard with, it will now be blue instead of yellow. This means you have infinite ammo for the rest of the fight. You can just continuously shoot Razorbeard, and the only thing you really have to worry about now is Razorbeard shooting you and you running into walls. That's pretty much it. The fight becomes extremely easy if you get that power, and that is why I didn't do that during the final fight against Razorbeard. It's fun to show it off, but when you actually get down to it, it's not very challenging when you have infinite ammo in the final fight. I always like to avoid that whenever possible, and it's something I just found out about not too long ago. About a year ago I found that out, which is pretty cool, but like I said, it takes the fun out of the final fight. So it's not really something that I recommend if you want a challenge from the fight, but it's one of the hardest things in the entire game to pull off, so if you can beat Razorbeard no problem without dying and without using the infinite ammo, pat yourself on the back. I mean, I'll do that right now because I was able to get through that fight without dying to Razorbeard. I've never done that before. And I have played through this game a number of times, but truth be told, I haven't really beaten this game all that many times. In fact, I do believe that this playthrough was my third time beating this game. I rented this game when I was a child on the N64, but I didn't really have all that much time to play the game. I only got to play a few levels, but from what I played from it, I enjoyed it. It was the end of the N64's lifespan, so I kind of missed on purchasing the game for myself. Then years later, I believe it was 2011, I decided for whatever reason to play the game once again, but I had to play it through an emulator because I never actually owned any other version of Rayman 2. And I beat that version. That was the first time I beaten Rayman 2 fully, 100% completion. Then I got to play through the game about 2 years later, and it was a lot of fun to play through it again on the N64, on the actual cartridge, because a friend of mine gifted me the Rayman 2 cart. He was able to track down a cartridge of the game. You know who you are. Thank you so much for doing that. And I played through the N64 version, and I enjoyed it once again, but this has been my third time beating the game overall, I'll say. I played this game a lot. I picked it up and put it down a couple times over the years, but I didn't decide to fully go through it until 2011. This game is a lot of fun, and if I had to recommend any version of Rayman 2, I would honestly recommend picking up the PC version of the game. The PC and the N64 versions of Rayman 2, I feel, are the most pure versions of the game. All the other versions do things to change up the game, add more things, take away some old things, and I feel like if you just want the original experience of Rayman 2, just play the PC or N64 version. The PC version is easier to track down because you can buy this game brand new right now on GOG.com for a low price of $5.99. So it's really easy for you to pick up this game, and it runs really nicely on newer computers. I've had issues trying to get the game run on Windows 8 properly, but I'm pretty sure if I messed around with the game enough, I can get it to run perfectly fine on a Windows 8 computer. I was able to play this entire game perfectly fine using an Xbox 360 controller on my Windows 7 PC. I had no issues. The only issue you're going to be noticing while playing the PC version is the frame rate will go from 60 to 30. It's really inconsistent, and you haven't noticed it during this Let's Play because this entire playthrough I was rendering this out on 30 frames because this was before YouTube made the jump to 60 frames per second, and also The game does fluctuate a lot, but it tries to hover around 30 frames a lot of the time, so that's why I tried to keep it in that frame rate. But now with this game completed, I can say for a fact that after playing this version, I'll probably end up playing this one more than the N64 version now. It just looks a lot nicer, and the music's a tiny bit different compared to the two. There's just more instruments that are in this version, as the cartridge can't really hold as much data as like a PC game would, for example. So the instruments here in this version of the game are really, really good compared to the N64 version. I noticed a lot of songs here I just enjoyed more in this version of the game compared to the N64. I guess while we're going through this credit sequence, I can also talk about some of the other versions of Rayman 2 I played outside of the PC and N64, which really haven't been all that many. The only other version that I've played was the PS1 version of Rayman 2. I played a few levels of that, and I enjoy it. There's a lot of stuff cut out from that version, and a lot of people consider it to be one of the worst versions. Not the worst version, no. A lot of people like giving that title to the DS version, because it's pretty much the N64 version of Rayman 2, only buggier. And that's saying a lot, because this was a 1998 game, and these games are pretty buggy. I mean, I flew around with an invisible keg back in Minor Hills, so this game isn't the best in the world with programming. But yeah, that's the only version I played. I've seen an entire playthrough of Rayman Revolution on the PS2, and that's the other version of Rayman 2 I would like to play sometime in the future, because it's the most complete experience, having all the elements from the original while at the same time adding all the new stuff from other ports of the game. So I do want to try that one in the future, and since that one's on the PlayStation Network for like $10, it's really easy for me to track down. So that's probably another version I'll play in the future. And the only other version I would be interested in playing would be probably the 3DS version, because from what I've heard, the 3DS version is a pretty stable and pretty good version of Rayman 2 as well. Since there are so many different versions of Rayman 2, not really going to be planning on playing them all. They mainly just want me playing the PS2 and 3DS version just to see how those ones are. And who knows, maybe I'll come back to the Rayman world one day, look at one of those versions of Rayman 2. And what is this? Cheat! Okay, this is different. We got a little mini game here that appears in the end, and it's a shoot-up. So here all we have to do is just shoot the credits. That's essentially what we're doing. This is a little fun distraction if you wait around the credits a little bit, and then you'll see the word cheat pop up. So now we can go ahead and shoot these letters that are flying at us in this space shooter type experience. I don't really have that much health, so I'm gonna do my best to survive as long as I can. I'm not going through this entire thing. In fact, I've never done this before because, like I said, this is my first time beating this game on PC. This is not an N64 version as far as I know. This is a PC exclusive little mini game we can do. So I'm going to be really careful to last as long as I can, but I don't think I have many more hits now, so just gonna want to be very careful. Also, that 8 behind me doesn't look good. Okay, what was that? Is that an invincibility power-up? I think it is. It's pretty cool, but it's not really that practical. Oh, there we go. So, we lost, but oh well, we did good. But with that said, we are at the end of Rayman 2. I hope everyone has enjoyed this Let's Play as much as I have. This has been a very fun experience, and I do recommend playing this game for yourself if you like your classic 3D platformers. This was a classic 3D platformer from my childhood. Even though I didn't play all that much of this in my youth, it is a game that I do remember quite fondly, and it's very, very fun. I highly recommend picking up a copy of Rayman 2 on any platform. You can get this on so many different things, there's no excuse at this point to not play this game. So with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed. There will be some bonus content coming your way, so stay tuned for that coming in the very near future. Hope everyone enjoyed this Let's Play as much as I have, and that all said, I'll see you guys next time.